Stop for a moment and ask yourself, what if there's more to death than we've ever imagined? What if the moment our breath fades isn't an end but the beginning of a profound journey through the realms of consciousness? Enter the Bardo Thodol, known to many as the Tibetan Book of the Dead. This isn't merely a religious relic or an obscure Tibetan manuscript. It's an ancient guide that dares to map out the path every soul takes after death. Written in the 8th century by Padmasambhava, a mystical master revered in Tibetan Buddhism, this text offers a glimpse into a spiritual landscape that challenges everything we think we know about life and death. This is not just a book. It's a roadmap to eternity, crafted to guide the soul through its greatest adventure beyond the veil. The Bardo Thodol does something remarkable. It treats death not as an endpoint but as a transition, a shift in awareness. Bardo translates to an intermediate state, a bridge between worlds, and Thodol means liberation through hearing. So, this text is designed to be read aloud to the dying or deceased, giving the soul a lifeline through the unfamiliar realms it faces. Imagine a cosmic GPS, one that illuminates the way through 3 distinct stages after death, from the initial release of consciousness from the body to encounters with gods, demons, and karmic visions, and finally, to the threshold of rebirth. It's a journey designed to offer enlightenment or rebirth based on the soul's readiness and awareness. This ancient knowledge has the power to change how we approach not only death but life itself, revealing a reality where death is not an abyss, but a doorway. But why, after so many centuries, does the Bardo Thodol still captivate minds across the world? Perhaps because it offers something few texts do, a clear and unflinching look into what lies beyond. This isn't vague spiritual philosophy or comforting promises. It's a step-by-step guide for the soul, illuminating an intricate journey into the heart of consciousness, one that allows for self-liberation even after death. It tells us that at the moment of death, when all illusions are stripped away, we face the clear light, the pure ultimate nature of mind. In that light lies the chance for true freedom. This realization isn't just for the dead, but for anyone willing to confront their own mortality. In reading the Bardo Thodol, we're invited to imagine our own journey through these realms, to reflect on how we live, and ultimately, to understand that liberation is possible at every step, even in death. So, as we dive into the mysteries of the Bardo Thodol, we're not just exploring an ancient text, we're stepping into a powerful tradition that bridges life, death, and rebirth. This guide has endured because it challenges us to embrace a life of awareness, a life that prepares for the unknown with open eyes and a steady heart. It invites us to look beyond the boundaries of the self and into a vast reality where death is merely a transition, a doorway that can lead to freedom, peace, or rebirth. Now, the question remains, are we ready to follow the path? Are we prepared to look beyond what we know and take the first steps on this journey into the mysteries of existence? Because this journey begins now. To understand the Bardo Thodol is to understand 2 simple yet profound words, Bardo and Thodol. These aren't just poetic terms. They're keys to unlocking a revolutionary view of existence itself. In Tibetan, Bardo literally means an intermediate state, or gap, a space between 2 realities. It's not just a stage after death. It's any transitional moment when what we once knew is gone and what comes next is uncertain. Thodol, on the other hand, translates to liberation through hearing. Imagine then a book designed not for silent contemplation, but to be read aloud, guiding the departed soul through the unknown. It's a text that assumes death is not an end, but a profound opportunity, a chance for liberation if the soul can recognize its own nature amidst the intense experiences it encounters. The Bardo Thodol speaks to a fundamental spiritual truth. Life is filled with bardos, with states of transition where the boundaries of identity dissolve, and we confront the essence of who we are. These aren't just experiences of the dead. they happen in life too, during times of profound change. In the text, death is the ultimate bardo, one that pushes us to let go of everything we know, our bodies, our names, our attachments, and embrace the vast unknown. It's not a passive process, but a journey requiring courage, awareness, and wisdom. Liberation through hearing means that this guidance can awaken even a soul lost in confusion or fear, helping it find clarity and peace through the simple act of listening. In other words, the words of the Bardo Thodol serve as a bridge, allowing the soul to cross over and experience the truth hidden within. Imagine standing at the edge of everything familiar and hearing a voice that reassures you. This is just a passage, a phase, a door to another reality. That is the essence of the Bardo Thodol. It takes the fear of the unknown and transforms it into an opportunity for awakening. In the moment of death, we're stripped of all illusions, all masks. What remains is the core of our consciousness, which, if guided correctly, can lead us to liberation. The text is crafted with this purpose in mind: to free the soul from fear, to remind it of its true nature, and to offer it a path to enlightenment, even in the depths of darkness. Liberation through hearing emphasizes the power of awareness itself as a tool for breaking through the illusions that bind us, giving the soul the chance to recognize itself in the infinite. So when we speak of Bardo and Thodol, we're talking about more than just words. We're discussing a lifeline that pulls us back to our true essence. The Tibetan Book of the Dead isn't just a guide to the afterlife. It's a reminder of the reality that underlies all transitions. By grasping the meaning of Bardo and Thodol, we come to see that every moment is an opportunity for liberation if we can recognize it as such. Whether it's the end of a life or the end of a day, these terms call us to a higher state of awareness, urging us to see beyond appearances and find the freedom that lies in embracing change. Through these two words, the Bardo Thodol invites us to face life and death with open eyes and a fearless heart. At the heart of the Bardo Thodol lies a transformative journey, outlined in three distinct yet interconnected stages known as the bardos: the Chikai Bardo, Chonyid Bardo, and Sidpa Bardo. These aren't simply metaphors. They're profound spiritual states that describe the soul's experience from the moment of death to the threshold of rebirth. Each bardo offers a unique challenge, a test, and, for those with the awareness to recognize it, a portal to liberation. Imagine these stages as gateways through which the soul passes, each one unveiling deeper aspects of reality, and each providing an opportunity to escape the cycle of rebirth altogether. The first of these stages, the Chikai Bardo, encompasses the immediate experience of death, a sudden separation of consciousness from the body. It is here, in the Chikai Bardo, that the soul encounters what is known as the clear light, an intensely radiant awareness that reveals the soul's true essence. For the prepared mind, recognizing this light is a chance for immediate liberation, transcending all suffering and illusions. But for most, the light is overwhelming, unfamiliar, and thus they withdraw, losing their chance to awaken. The Chikai Bardo, then, is both a revelation and a challenge, as the soul must recognize this light as part of its own consciousness, a feat that requires training, readiness, and self-awareness. Following the Chikai Bardo is the Chonyid Bardo, a realm where visions emerge, ranging from peaceful to terrifying, reflecting the mind's inner landscape. Here the soul is confronted with deities, some serene and compassionate, others fierce and wrathful. These are not external beings, but projections of the soul's own unresolved fears, desires, and karma. The Chonyid Bardo is like a mirror, showing the soul the true contents of its mind. This stage serves as both a lesson and an opportunity, urging the soul to recognize these visions for what they are, impermanent illusions, and to transcend them. Failing to do so leads the soul deeper into attachment and fear, ultimately guiding it toward yet another cycle of rebirth. Finally, the Sidpa Bardo brings the soul to the stage of rebirth. Here, the karmic forces accumulated over lifetimes shape the soul's next destination, determining the circumstances of its rebirth. In this final Bardo, intense desires and attachments act as magnetic forces, pulling the soul toward new life. However, even here, liberation is possible. If the soul can remain detached, observing these karmic urges without clinging to them, it may still achieve freedom from the cycle. In these three Bardos, the Bardo Thodol presents not just a map of the afterlife, but a guide to the human psyche, offering a path to liberation by illuminating the nature of mind and illusion. For those who seek, each stage presents a doorway, inviting the soul to wake up and realize its boundless potential. The Chikai Bardo, known as the moment of death, is an intense, transformative threshold marking the soul's departure from the physical realm. In Tibetan tradition, this Bardo is the first and perhaps the most crucial phase, as it is here that the consciousness encounters the clear light, a brilliance so pure and encompassing that it reflects the very essence of existence. For the prepared soul, this moment is a rare opportunity to transcend the wheel of rebirth entirely. Imagine standing on the edge of the unknown, a bridge between the tangible and the ethereal, illuminated by an all-encompassing light that offers liberation in its embrace, if only the soul can recognize it as part of itself. At this juncture, Tibetan teachings emphasize the importance of meditation and awareness. For those who have cultivated a deep practice in life, this Bardo provides the ultimate test of clarity and detachment. When the clear light emerges, the soul is encouraged to recognize it not as something external or intimidating, but as the manifestation of its own true nature, pure, boundless consciousness. The challenge here is immense, as the brilliance of the light can overwhelm, especially for those unaccustomed to such intensity. Yet, if recognized and embraced, it leads directly to enlightenment, allowing the soul to merge into an existence free of suffering, fear, and attachment. For the unprepared, however, this moment can be both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Instead of seeing the light as a path to liberation, the soul, driven by habitual fears and attachments, may interpret it as something alien, an unknown force to resist. This instinctive retreat moves the soul away from liberation, pushing it further along the Bardos toward rebirth. Tibetan Buddhism teaches that such missed opportunities arise from lifetimes of karmic conditioning, attachments, desires, and fears accumulated over countless experiences that cloud the mind's ability to recognize its true nature. This is why the Chikai Bardo is so deeply revered, and why practitioners spend their lives cultivating mindfulness and awareness to prepare for this critical moment. The Chikai Bardo reminds us of a powerful truth. The soul's journey in death reflects the life it has led. Those who prepare by embracing practices of awareness and detachment have a greater chance of recognizing the clear light as an extension of their consciousness, reaching freedom in a single transformative instant. The text suggests that even glimpses of this light can be found in life, in deep meditation or moments of profound clarity, serving as a preparation for this ultimate encounter. In the Chikai Bardo, Tibetan wisdom offers us a vivid vision of death not as an end, but as an unparalleled moment of awakening, where, with awareness, the soul might find liberation in a single breath. The journey continues in the Chonyad Bardo, where the soul encounters a realm of visions both beautiful and terrifying. This stage is a stark unveiling of reality beyond the physical, a place where consciousness reveals itself in its rawest, most vivid forms. Here, the soul meets a procession of deities, appearing first as peaceful and then as wrathful beings. These deities are not external figures, but symbolic manifestations of the mind itself, arising from the soul's deepest subconscious, reflecting accumulated fears, attachments, and unresolved desires. In the Chonyid Bardo, the soul is compelled to confront these aspects of its inner world, which is amplified beyond any earthly experience. The Chonyid Bardo's visions are not just symbolic, they are deeply transformative, inviting the soul to recognize the true nature of its own mind. The peaceful deities reflect the pure, enlightened aspects of consciousness, qualities like compassion, wisdom, and serenity. These figures might appear as Buddhas, bodhisattvas, or radiant beings that invite the soul into a state of peace and transcendence. Yet, if the soul is unprepared, even these benevolent forms can be overwhelming, and rather than embracing these aspects, it may feel intimidated and retreat. Tibetan teachings remind us that these deities are opportunities for the soul to see and accept its highest potential, to merge with the enlightened state these visions represent. As the peaceful deities fade, the visions become more intense, transforming into what are known as wrathful deities. These figures are fierce, powerful, and often terrifying, demons, monstrous faces, and dark entities that seem to attack or judge. However, they are not hostile forces. Instead, they represent the soul's own repressed fears, angers, and unresolved emotions. Tibetan wisdom teaches that these deities serve a purpose. They are the shadows of the psyche, made visible so that the soul may confront and integrate them. By seeing these visions for what they truly are, projections of the mind, the soul has a chance to transcend its karmic limitations, to face its fears with clarity, and to dissolve them in the light of awareness. The Chonyid Bardo is a deeply transformative journey through the landscape of the mind, a dimension where illusion and reality blur, offering the soul a profound opportunity to understand its own consciousness. Tibetan teachings emphasize that these visions are not meant to be feared, but to be recognized as facets of one's inner life. The text encourages the soul to hold on to the understanding that all these manifestations, peaceful and wrathful alike, are impermanent, like dreams. In recognizing this truth, the soul can move beyond illusion, releasing attachments and achieving a deeper level of freedom. This stage serves as a reminder that our inner world, cultivated in life, becomes the very foundation of our experience in the afterlife. The Chonyid Bardo, then, is not just a passage. It is an initiation into the mysteries of the self. In the Sidpa Bardo, the final stage of the journey beyond death, the soul reaches a pivotal juncture where choices made, consciously or unconsciously, will determine its path forward. Here the soul finds itself drawn toward rebirth, pulled by karmic forces that have accumulated across lifetimes. Tibetan teachings reveal that in this bardo, the soul is at a crossroads. Having passed through the profound experiences of the Chikai and Chonyid Bardos, it now faces the culmination of its journey, where each thought, desire, and attachment coalesces into a force that shapes the circumstances of the next life. This realm is dense with spiritual gravity, urging the soul forward to confront and embrace its karmic destiny. Within the Sidpa Bardo, the soul encounters powerful visions tied to rebirth, visions that are often chaotic and turbulent, reflecting the soul's desires, attachments, and fears. Tibetan wisdom describes how these visions include glimpses of potential lives, bodies, and circumstances, each resonating with the karmic imprints that the soul carries. The karmic winds are forces that pull the soul toward particular situations and conditions, mirroring the soul's inner state. If anger, greed, or attachment dominates, the pull toward similar energies in the next life strengthens. For those souls who attain awareness here, however, there is still a choice, a possibility to avoid entanglement in the karmic cycle and transcend rebirth altogether. The text offers guidance on transcending the Sidpa Bardo's gravitational pull, emphasizing detachment and lucidity as keys to liberation. Tibetan teachings suggest that during life, the mind should be cultivated to understand the illusory nature of attachment and desire. For the soul in the Sidpa Bardo, these learned habits of detachment become invaluable. If the soul can observe its desires without being swept up in them, if it can see each vision as merely a product of past tendencies rather than its essential self, then it may transcend rebirth. This requires the soul to release attachment, not only to loved ones and familiar surroundings, but also to personal identity itself. The Tibetan Book of the Dead advises the soul to regard these visions without longing as mere images and reflections, thus paving a path toward ultimate freedom. In many ways, the Sidpa Bardo reflects the entire cycle of existence, the concept of samsara, where souls wander through life after life, bound by unresolved karma. It reveals how deeply embedded our actions, thoughts, and choices become, leaving impressions that guide our future paths. For practitioners, understanding the Sidpa Bardo is a call to live mindfully in this life, to cultivate the qualities of clarity, detachment, and compassion that can serve the soul in its journey through the bardos. This final bardo teaches us that the journey after death is not merely about moving to another world, but about transforming the self to break free from the cycles of rebirth, liberating the soul into a realm of peace and clarity. Central to the Bardo Thodol's teachings is the concept of the clear light, a pure, all-encompassing radiance that appears in the moment of death. This clear light represents the mind's essential nature, the purest form of consciousness, untainted by ego or illusion. Tibetan Buddhism holds that recognizing the clear light is the key to ultimate liberation, a release from the cycle of samsara that binds souls to continuous rebirth. When a soul can recognize and merge with this clear light, it transcends the limitations of individual identity and achieves nirvana, the state of perfect freedom. This is one of the most profound opportunities offered in the Bardo journey, available to all souls but recognized only by those with prepared minds. The clear light is described as both brilliant and serene, embodying the soul's true nature beyond the ego's constraints. It's a moment of profound clarity, where the deepest truths of existence are revealed. Tibetan teachings suggest that this experience is available to us in life as well, glimpsed in states of deep meditation, when the mind becomes still, allowing insight into the true nature of reality. The clear light in this context is not a distant divine force, but an inherent part of our consciousness, accessible through mindful awareness and spiritual practice. Tibetan practitioners spend years cultivating the ability to recognize this light, training the mind to recognize its own essence beyond fleeting thoughts and desires. For those who do not recognize the clear light in the moment of death, this chance of liberation is brief, like a door that quickly closes if unseized. The unprepared soul may perceive the clear light as overwhelming, even frightening, and retreat, moving instead into the other stages of the bardos. The text emphasizes that training the mind to see beyond fear and illusion is essential. Those who can embrace the light as an intrinsic part of themselves are freed from attachment and liberated from the need for rebirth. The clear light is not just a concept, but a powerful reminder of the soul's capacity to recognize its own divinity, a light that shines continuously whether we see it or not. Through meditative practice, individuals can cultivate an awareness that remains intact even as the body transitions into death, aligning their consciousness with the clear light. Tibetan masters believe that this training can bring about liberation not just at death, but throughout life. By glimpsing the clear light in meditation, by recognizing that our awareness has an eternal, unchanging quality, we prepare ourselves for the ultimate moment. The clear light, as presented in the Bardo Thodol, is more than a light. It's an invitation to understand and embrace the eternal self, to meet death with open eyes and recognize liberation within, bringing an end to suffering and the beginning of true freedom. Imagine the quiet power of the mind, trained to sit still in the vast silence, preparing to face what lies beyond life itself. In Tibetan Buddhism, Meditation is not merely a daily practice. It's a form of mastery over consciousness, a rehearsal for the final journey. Meditation prepares the mind to meet death with awareness rather than fear, equipping it to navigate the bardos with clarity. As the body dissolves and the familiar fades, only consciousness remains. A mind trained in meditation can recognize this shift, moving with purpose rather than being swept along by unknown currents. Meditation acts as a compass, grounding the soul in the face of illusions and powerful visions. Tibetan masters have long trained in specific meditative techniques to anchor themselves during these transitions, using tools like breathwork, visualization, and chanting to transcend the mundane. When death arrives, it's as if they are simply stepping through a door they've opened many times before. Through meditation, they are ready not only to recognize the bardos, but to wield them as tools of liberation. For the untrained mind, the bardos can be disorienting, like wandering through a labyrinth without a map. But meditation, practiced in life, becomes a guide. Tibetan teachers emphasize cultivating clear light awareness, a heightened state in which the soul becomes attuned to the luminous purity of consciousness itself. This awareness is not just a means to calm the mind, but a portal to a deeper truth, that the mind can be boundless, connected to a universal flow that transcends life and death. Imagine then the power of meditation not as a ritual, but as a profound preparation for eternity. With every breath, every moment of stillness, one prepares to face the mysteries of the bardos. And in that silence, a great truth emerges. Meditation is not simply a path to peace in life. It is a path to liberation beyond life. It is both the map and the means, the vessel that can carry the soul through the ultimate transition and toward the uncharted realms beyond. Step deeper now into the surreal theater of the Chonyed Bardo. Here the soul confronts visions that defy earthly understanding, deities of radiant beauty and deities of terrifying fury. But these aren't gods or demons in the usual sense. They are aspects of consciousness itself. In Tibetan teaching, these deities are born from our own thoughts, fears, desires, and karmic imprints. They are the most intimate parts of our psyche, taking form in the afterlife to confront us with what we've hidden from ourselves in life. In the Chonyed Bardo, the peaceful deities appear first, embodying calm and wisdom. They reflect our enlightened qualities, like compassion, clarity, and patience. But for many, the peace is too intense, too absolute to accept. Those who fail to recognize these divine reflections of themselves retreat, pulling back into attachment, unable to bear the purity of their own essence. This retreat triggers the appearance of the wrathful deities, vivid, powerful embodiments of anger, fear, and other untamed emotions that lie within the depths of consciousness. Each wrathful deity is a mirror, showing the soul the unresolved forces it has carried through lifetimes. Imagine meeting not an external monster, but the embodiment of every anger you've held, every fear you've let consume you. The experience can feel overwhelming, terrifying, but Tibetan teachings reveal a secret here. The key to freedom lies in facing these projections with courage. They are not here to torment the soul, but to teach it, to help it release its attachments and fears. The wrathful deities are a final, intense opportunity for the soul to recognize and dissolve the karmic forces that bind it to the cycle of rebirth. This encounter asks one simple question: can you accept that every terrifying vision is a part of you? If the soul can see through the deity's illusions and recognize them as projections, it moves closer to liberation. But if fear rules, the cycle continues and rebirth looms. The Bardo Thodol is clear. Facing the wrathful deities is not about defeating external demons, but about reconciling the soul's own inner conflicts. In doing so, one finds a path not just through the bardos, but to the ultimate release from all cycles, into a state beyond fear, beyond rebirth, beyond the limits of the known. In Tibetan Buddhism, karma is not a mere moral ledger. It is an intricate, binding force that shapes not only the present life, but also the journey beyond it. As the soul moves through the bardos, karma serves as both a mirror and a guide, pulling the consciousness toward experiences that echo the actions, thoughts, and intentions of its past. Imagine every decision you've made, every desire you've pursued, accumulating like layers, now guiding you through the afterlife. The Bardo Thodol teaches that karma is woven into the very fabric of existence, threading through life and beyond. Karma, as described in this ancient text, does not judge or condemn. It simply reflects. In the bardos, the karmic imprints of one's life shape the visions, encounters, and experiences awaiting the soul. For those who have cultivated compassion, mindfulness, and integrity, the bardos present visions of peace and opportunity for liberation. But for those who carry unresolved attachments, anger, or fear, the karmic consequences manifest as challenging visions, writhing with the energy of emotions left unchecked. The Bardo Thodol reveals that, ultimately, karma's role is to provide a mirror, urging the soul to recognize its own actions, face them with honesty, and find liberation through understanding. In the Sidpa Bardo, the karmic forces reach their peak. Here the soul feels the gravitational pull of its accumulated deeds, drawing it toward rebirth in a new life aligned with its past actions. This karmic wind is not arbitrary. It is the energy of one's own choices, a force that pushes the soul into the cycle of samsara once again. Tibetan Buddhism teaches that in this stage, the soul is offered one last chance to recognize the nature of its actions, to understand the illusions that shaped its desires and fears. By seeing through these karmic illusions, one can step off the wheel of rebirth, attaining a freedom that transcends life's repetitions. The profound truth that emerges from the Bardo Thodol is that karma is more than a set of rewards or punishments. It is a pathway, guiding the soul through its own story, urging it toward deeper self-awareness. Imagine understanding this not as a cosmic judgment, but as an opportunity for growth, a structure through which the soul learns to refine itself. In this way, karma is not the chain that binds, but the teacher that illuminates, showing us that every action in life plants seeds for the future, seeds that bloom in the bardos as glimpses of the soul's true nature. Each moment of awareness, each act of kindness in life, becomes a step toward liberation, freeing the soul from cycles of rebirth and guiding it to ultimate peace. In the Sidpa Bardo, the final phase of the journey beyond death, the soul is drawn into the magnetic pull of reincarnation. Imagine standing on the precipice of countless possible lives, each one shaped by the karmic echoes of choices made across lifetimes. This is not a passive experience. It is an intense, swirling vortex of attraction, fueled by unfulfilled desires, attachments, and the weight of past actions. Here, in the Sidpa Bardo, the soul moves closer to reincarnation, where it will manifest again, influenced by the karmic forces that have led it to this threshold. As the soul hovers between worlds, visions arise, flashes of couples, families, moments of creation. These visions are gateways, the first glimpse into possible new lives, and each one holds a unique karmic resonance that mirrors the energy of the soul. Tibetan Buddhism teaches that the soul's rebirth is not random, but an inevitable gravitation toward a life aligned with its unresolved karma. It's as if the soul is magnetized to a new form, a life that will allow it to explore and perhaps transcend the patterns it has carried forward. With each vision, the Bardo Thodol urges the soul to maintain detachment, for only with a calm, centered awareness can it resist the automatic pull of desire and attachment. In this state, The teachings emphasize that the soul still retains a sliver of choice. With awareness, it can recognize these visions as reflections, mere manifestations of karmic energy, rather than its true self. Imagine the strength and clarity required to maintain this detachment, to see the entire process as a cycle of learning rather than a forced reincarnation. For those who succeed, liberation remains possible. But for most, the powerful urge to be embodied once more takes hold, and the soul is swept into a new life. The Bardo Thodol describes this transition not as punishment or reward, but as an inevitable continuation, an opportunity to revisit the lessons left incomplete. The Sidpa Bardo reveals a timeless insight, that each life is a precious opportunity, shaped by the choices we've made, yet free to evolve. The karmic pull that guides the soul to reincarnation is a reminder that every action, every intention, ripples through eternity. For the soul, reincarnation is not a return to suffering, but a chance to deepen understanding, to refine awareness, and to awaken. Tibetan Buddhism teaches that through mindfulness and conscious action, we can shape not only our current life but also the lives to come, creating a path that moves closer to liberation with each cycle. Imagine standing beside a loved one as they prepare to cross the boundary of life and death. In Tibetan Buddhism, this moment is not just a departure, but an opportunity. A moment where the living can offer profound support to guide the soul through the bardos. The Bardo Thodol, often read aloud to the dying or recently departed, serves as a map, a steady hand helping the soul recognize and navigate the visions that emerge. For the living, the book becomes a tool of compassion, an act of love that transcends physical presence. It isn't just about reciting words. It's about creating a bridge of consciousness, guiding the deceased with courage and clarity. As the soul enters the bardos, the teachings of the Bardo Thodol instruct loved ones to remain present, calm, and clear-minded. This presence is more than a comfort. It's a steady anchor for the soul, who may feel the pull of confusion or fear as it encounters intense visions. The role of the Lama, or spiritual guide, is crucial here. In Tibetan tradition, the Lama recites specific prayers and mantras to ground the soul and direct its awareness. These mantras act like a compass, reminding the soul of the wisdom it has cultivated in life and the path toward liberation. By keeping the mind focused, the living help prevent the soul from becoming ensnared in illusion, guiding it closer to the clear light of awareness. Creating a peaceful environment for the dying also plays a powerful role. In Tibetan practice, the setting is prepared with care, often filled with incense, candles, and sacred images to invoke a serene spiritual atmosphere. This environment helps to minimize distractions, allowing the soul to transition smoothly. Loved ones are encouraged to maintain a space of respect, free from displays of grief or distress, which could potentially pull the soul back toward attachment and hinder its journey. The goal is to provide a cocoon of peace, a sacred space where the soul feels supported and unencumbered, empowered to move freely through the stages of the afterlife. The teachings also emphasize that helping the deceased navigate the bardos is a practice in itself, a spiritual exercise that brings growth and awareness to the living. By participating in this process, loved ones deepen their own understanding of death as a transitional journey, not an end. This experience becomes a shared path toward enlightenment, where the boundaries between life and death soften, and compassion becomes the guiding force. Through assisting the departed, the living are reminded of the impermanence of existence, the significance of every action, and the potential for liberation beyond the confines of this life. The Bardo Thodol thus serves as both a guide for the deceased and a powerful reminder for those who remain, urging us all to live with mindfulness, compassion, and an awakened heart. In the journey through the bardos, fear and illusion arise not as punishments, but as profound teaching tools. Imagine a landscape where every fear, every attachment you've held materializes vividly in front of you. In the Chonyid Bardo, these visions, whether angelic or monstrous, serve a crucial role. They reflect the contents of your own mind, aspects of yourself that you may have suppressed, ignored, or misunderstood in life. Through these illusions, the Bardo Thodol teaches that we encounter ourselves in our rawest form, stripped of the comfortable veils we wear during our lifetime. As the soul journeys deeper, it is confronted by the projections of its inner world, which can be overwhelming. These frightening images and illusions are intended to challenge the soul's perception of reality, forcing it to confront the essence of its fears. The Bardo Thodol reveals that these visions are not external threats, but expressions of our unresolved emotions, regrets, and attachments. The deities, both wrathful and peaceful, are manifestations of these inner forces, meant to help the soul recognize its own illusions. By encountering these aspects of itself, the soul has a chance to understand them deeply, dissolving the boundaries that keep it from seeing the true nature of mind. For those prepared to recognize these fears as projections, the experience transforms from terrifying to liberating. Realizing that these visions are not independent entities, but elements of one's own psyche allows the soul to dissolve fear and move closer to enlightenment. Tibetan Buddhism teaches that facing these illusions and understanding their nature as empty is essential for liberation. The term emptiness here does not mean a void, but rather an understanding that these projections lack inherent reality. They arise from the mind, and thus can be released by the mind. This recognition is the first step toward breaking the cycle of rebirth, a realization that the soul no longer needs to be ensnared by its own illusions. In life, too, this lesson applies. The fears and attachments we carry are often rooted in our interpretations and assumptions, which we mistake for reality. By understanding the teachings of the Bardos, we gain insight into the illusions we create daily, illusions that shape our interactions, choices, and identities. Just as in the afterlife, facing these illusions without fear allows us to live with greater freedom and clarity. The Bardo Thodol thus invites us to dissolve the barriers of illusion in life and beyond, encouraging us to cultivate a mindset where fear does not control us. Through this understanding, we come to see that enlightenment is not only a goal in the afterlife, but a possibility we can nurture here and now. The Bardo Thodol offers a radical perspective on how to live, by embracing death not as a distant event, but as a part of every moment. It teaches that life and death are not polar opposites but entwined, with each moment holding a seed of both. To live fully, it suggests, we must acknowledge death as a silent companion, allowing it to guide us toward a more mindful and purposeful life. Imagine the depth of clarity and freedom that could arise if we accepted each day as a precious opportunity, not to escape death, but to align ourselves with the principles that prepare us for it. Embracing the reality of death has a transformative effect. It makes every action, every choice, vibrate with significance. Tibetan teachings advocate for practices like contemplating death as a means to dissolve trivial concerns and enhance our appreciation for the here and now. By meditating on our mortality, we are urged to let go of attachments, to cease clinging to the temporary, and to focus instead on cultivating compassion, understanding, and resilience. This isn't a morbid fixation. It's an invitation to live more vibrantly, knowing that every interaction and experience has weight. When death becomes part of our awareness, we are prompted to ask, what truly matters? What legacy are we creating? This heightened awareness encourages us to release ego-driven desires and embrace a life grounded in service, love, and presence. The Bardo Thodol implies that the quality of our consciousness in life has a direct impact on our journey through the bardos after death. In other words, how we live now shapes the state of mind we carry beyond the physical plane. If we cultivate inner peace, compassion, and awareness in life, we will be better equipped to recognize these qualities in the bardos, potentially freeing ourselves from the cycle of rebirth. Our daily thoughts and actions then become preparations for this final journey, reinforcing a mindset of clarity and fearlessness. Ultimately, the Bardo Thodol calls us to approach each moment as an opportunity for growth, for shedding illusions and embracing truth. Living with an awareness of death does not mean living in fear, but rather living with gratitude and intentionality. The text encourages us to integrate its teachings into everyday life. By practicing mindfulness, by fostering a connection to our inner nature, and by facing challenges with courage. It reveals that life's ultimate purpose is not merely survival or accumulation, but awakening. An awakening that allows us to see beyond the limits of time and ego. With this perspective, every day becomes a chance to deepen our understanding, to live authentically, and to prepare our soul for the unknown journey ahead. In doing so, we transform both our lives and our understanding of death, achieving a freedom that transcends both. In an age of scientific breakthroughs and philosophical skepticism, the Bardo Thodol, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, continues to intrigue, challenge, and inspire. This ancient text, with its vivid depictions of the afterlife and its profound spiritual guidance, transcends its cultural and historical origins. Its relevance today reaches far beyond the Tibetan tradition, resonating with people around the world who seek to understand the mysteries of consciousness, life, and death. As science probes deeper into questions of the mind, the Bardo Thodol offers insights that bridge ancient wisdom and contemporary knowledge, suggesting that perhaps consciousness doesn't end with the body, but journeys beyond it. Modern psychology and neuroscience have started to acknowledge what spiritual traditions have long taught, that consciousness may extend beyond individual identity and material reality. Researchers exploring near-death experiences report findings that, astonishingly, parallel the Bardo Thodol's descriptions. Visions of light, encounters with transcendent beings, and the profound sense of interconnectedness described by people who have come back echo the stages detailed in this ancient text. For many, the Bardo Thodol provides a roadmap that aligns with these modern accounts, suggesting that the text's value lies not only in its religious teachings, but also in its depiction of a universal human experience. Beyond its teachings on the afterlife, the Bardo Thodol remains relevant as a manual for navigating the transitions and uncertainties we face in life. In today's fast-paced world, where change is constant and often overwhelming, its wisdom on embracing transition, releasing fear, and cultivating awareness offers a grounding perspective. The Bardo teachings inspire us to view each phase of life, whether a career shift, personal transformation, or loss, as a mini-death that offers the potential for rebirth. This mindset empowers us to face life's transitions with grace, to let go of attachments, and to evolve with each change. The text's focus on mindfulness, compassion, and the clear light of awareness speaks to anyone seeking to live with purpose and clarity amid life's inevitable upheavals. As a work of enduring spiritual philosophy, the Bardo Thodol holds a mirror to the questions that define our humanity. What is the nature of consciousness? Is there something within us that survives beyond death? And how can we live meaningfully, knowing our time is finite? Its teachings remind us that life and death are woven into the same fabric, that every moment offers a chance for awakening. The Bardo Thodol challenges us to look beyond the ordinary, to prepare for life's ultimate transition, not with dread, but with curiosity and reverence. In doing so, it invites us to embrace death not as an end, but as an integral part of existence, a gateway to deeper understanding. Its lessons are as relevant today as ever, offering timeless guidance for those ready to explore the mysteries of life, death, and the boundless journey of the soul.